Welcome, my friends, to our PMP exam prep for today, covering the process domain, task 1. This is where we execute with urgency required to deliver business value, and the question is as follows. A project is building a new customer portal. The initial plan was a single large release. However, market analysis reveals that delivering a basic functional login and account overview feature within 2 months could significantly reduce customer service call volume immediately. What should the project manager do to deliver business value with urgency? A. Maintain the original single release plan to avoid scope changes and ensure comprehensive testing before deployment. B. Initiate a formal change request to rescope the entire project for an incremental delivery requiring full replanning and stakeholder approval. C. Collaborate with the product owner and development team to identify the minimum viable features for the login and account overview and prioritize their rapid development and deployment as a first increment. And D. Conduct a detailed cost-benefit analysis of the proposed early release, presenting the findings to the steering committee for a strategic decision before any action. I'll give you some time to think about the answer. All right, technically your time was up long ago because this is 2 minutes 45 seconds in. So using a process of elimination, you mentally go through each one. If we talk about option A, maintaining the original single release plan to avoid scope changes and ensure comprehensive testing before deployment. It's not a bad stance, but remember, in the world of the PMP exam, you should be looking to deliver business value and with urgency, right? Because it says, what should the project manager do to deliver business value with urgency? So A, having a single release plan is not really defined. It's not defining the urgency factor enough in my mind. So I'm going to go to B and see what B says. Initiate a formal change request to rescope the entire project for an incremental delivery. Now, doing that, again, is not wise because you are inadvertently adding scope. And in a big way, you're talking about rescoping the entire project. That doesn't really make sense. There's no justification. If you really look at what the key thing is here, market research, market analysis reveals that delivering a basic functional login and account overview feature could significantly reduce service call volume immediately. It would be foolish not to take advantage of that, you see. So B, that is not a bad thing, but just thinking about the entire project may not be smart to do that. And that will require a formal change request. So let's go to C. Collaborate with the product owner and development team to identify the minimum viable features. That's the MVP for the login and account overview and prioritize their rapid development and deployment as a first increment. When you think of it, there's actually nothing wrong in that. You're not saying everything's going to be incremental. You're saying we are going to deliver in a more hybrid consideration. See, because even though the initial plan was a single large release, it doesn't mean we have to stick to doing a single large release. So PMI would be trying to test you. If this was the exam, this task is to find out if you're able to balance agile mindedness with predictive awareness, to be hybrid. That's pretty much it. Let's go to option D and see what it says. Conduct a detailed cost benefit analysis. Now, whenever you see that word detailed, you got to say, detailed of the proposed early release. And then you got to present findings to the steering committee for a strategic decision before any action. Could you be any more or less agile? So, my friends, the best option here is C. This is where you will consider delivering business value with urgency, especially when an immediate opportunity arises. You got to collaborate with the team, the product owner, identify and prioritize an MVP for early release. And option C focuses on this iterative, value-driven approach. Option A and B delay value, and D is a step that would follow initial assessment. So, my friends, on the exam, you are going to be faced with making agile decisions. You're going to be faced with executing the project with urgency, with awareness, what it means to take a look at your product backlog or take a look at your requirements management plan or your requirements traceability matrix or whatever the document they mention is. And you have to determine, is there a better mousetrap? How can we do this more effectively to add as much value to the business as quickly as possible? I also want you to understand that these adventures we're having in these questions, the goal is not to mow down 100 questions. No. Each episode, I'm going to tackle one concept, and I'm going to get you to understand that concept. So in today's episode, the concept is process domain task 1. Execute the project with urgency. When you are thinking as a product owner, you got to think about value. You got to think about risk of not doing that thing on time. You got to think about urgency, and you got to think about the cost of delay. There's a penalty for not doing certain things, certain aspects in your backlog early enough. But as you can see here, if you're able to get these things out, it could significantly reduce customer service volume. That's value. Utility is value. You get what I'm saying? So the mindedness I need you to have for the exam is take advantage of upping the ante on value. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Bye for now.